here we are, the end of May 25th, 6th, 26th. Uh, Probably Thursday, Friday. Um, Probably from Thursday on. Tomorrow we'll have a call. Okay, let's get you muted over here. Awesome. Uh, the end of because I'll be going to Dallas and I'll be doing the ANMP. So just watch the chat. Probably Thursday. Um, might not be doing any calls after tomorrow, right? Normally I do them, but it's just a lot of work. And so doing the ANMP emceeing, we'll have Donna Johnson, who's co-emceeing with us, and yeah, it'll be fun. So we'll just go with that. So here you are, mid-May, end of May, right? Mid-year, and the question I have for you is, what's the story? What's the story? What's the story you're going to tell for the first part of the year? What's the story you're going to tell for the second part of the year? Maybe you've done more than you ever thought possible in the first part of the year. And that'd be great. And that would be awesome. And you deserve that. The question I have for you is, could you do more? What will the second half of what would the second half of the year look like? Right? What will the second half of your 2026 be? Because you can make that decision right now. What do you want it to be? Is it going to be more of the same, or is it going to be different? Do you need a different vehicle, or are you going to use the same vehicle? Do you need different disciplines or the same disciplines? The challenge is that, well, how do I say this without sounding arrogant? The challenge is that there are very few, if any, folks who talk about the tax that you pay before you ever start your project. All right? If you've ever gone on a trip and the first thing that came to your mind is, how much is that going to be? You haven't even taken the trip yet. If you ever thought about you're going to need to have a conversation with somebody and you said, well, this isn't going to go well, the conversation even hadn't started. If you ever set a goal and said, man, it's going to be tough. I've got to get going. I've got to get my place in. I got to get myself in gear. All of those things, all of those things are a tax on your project before the project ever starts. If you've ever gotten a paycheck, for those of you that are employed, you get a paycheck. You know what your work income was, and then there's take-home income, right? So there's this tax that comes off, FICA, health insurance, Social Security, all right, pre-tax, right? And then all of these things come out, and you're left with what's left. You're left with the net income. Well, when you start to understand, when you start to realize that your goals, your current goal success model, everything that you currently have, everything that you've ever done is the net success of your goal program. You go to work and you hire yourself to go do a job, and you motivate yourself to go do a job, and you focus yourself to go do a job. So when you set a goal down on paper and you put the sticky notes up and you write it down and you do your affirmations, you have now officially hired you to go do the work. And the challenge is that what you currently have, every success model you have, every goal you have, is a net result of how well your program works. Kind of when you do that, right? When you think about it that way, sometimes for a lot of things in our lives. So you've got to figure out what is the tax that's coming off of all of your ideas. What's the identity? Because the identity that makes the goal is not the identity that goes and completes the goal or accomplishes the goal. Does that make sense? So now, if that's the case, then the question is, what identity winds up doing the goal? You hire somebody to go do the goal. You hire them and you say, I want to get to six-figure income. Right? That's what you say. I want to hire them for a five-figure income. I want to hire them to get to XYZ. Whatever it is, you want to hire you to get to the next level. At some point, one of you quits. Either you quit trying to cajole, right? If you have a troubled employee, if you've ever employed people or ever been in a place where there were employees and somebody didn't quite muster up, they didn't keep the target, they didn't do the work, they didn't achieve the goals, what'd the boss do? They had to let them go. There's three things. The three T's, right? Train, transfer, terminate. Train, transfer, terminate. Those are the three T's in business. Train them for something else, transfer them to someplace else, or terminate them. Well, you're not getting terminated. You'll just quit, right? You're not transferring to another body, so you'll just quit. So the result is we just wind up quitting. We wind up not achieving our goals. Because here's what I would ask you. Right now, here we are, a couple days away from the start of the 6th month. Are you halfway to your goal? Maybe you've super succeeded it. Maybe you're more than halfway to your goal. Are you somewhere on target towards your goal? And if the answer to that is no, then you got to fire you. You have to fire you. Because the you that's doing the work ain't doing the work. You're just not doing the work. Well, what's the work? Well, first work you've got to stop doing is paying the taxes. Not your government taxes, your mental taxes, your identity tax. I can tell you that's the biggest challenge. The who you are that takes out a toll, a getting started fee on you is immense. And there's not a book that can fix it. There's not a program that can fix it until you change the way you look at things. You start doing things in a certain way. And the biggest way you take the toll, you stop paying that identity tax, is through repetition. You're paying it now because of repetition. You are required by your own rules to upgrade them, to advance them, to make them significantly more productive. You're going to be required to do something consistently, day in, day out, day in, day out, day in, day out, day in, day out, through repetition. Repetition of the new story, repetition of the tax-free identity. Challenge is for most, you won't let you tell that new story because you're not familiar with what it takes to upgrade your own story on your own. Could you imagine how powerful we could be if every time we heard a powerful tool, if every time we applied the incredible knowledge that comes to us through books and trainings and conversations and CDs and audios and YouTube videos and motivational phrases. If every one of those things stuck the first time we heard it, wouldn't our life just be magical? Wouldn't it just be incredible? See, what keeps happening is that for most people keep believing they need more. I need more discipline. I need more accountability. I need more, fill in the gap. What do you think you need more of? You have all of the skills, and all of the skills and talents you're ever going to develop are already inside you. You are not lacking. You are not broken. You are not out of anything except creating a new story. We'll sit down and we'll write down our goals, and we'll get excited about them, and we'll do it the first of the year. Maybe we'll do it on the quarterly basis. Maybe we'll do it on our birthday or some kind of big day. We'll write down these goals and we'll go, you know what? Now I'm mad now. That's a good thing. That's a good thing to get mad and wired up and tuned in. It's really a good thing because it's a change from who you are. So the question I have for you is, what's next? What is the thing you're going to undo? What is the thing you need to give up, give away, reduce in your world? Why are you being stubborn to your own success? That's the question. What has you so locked in to stay the same? Because here's what I can pretty much guarantee. Whatever level of growth or stuckedness or sameness or whatever it is, that this year was just maybe a little bit better than last year. The first half of 25, you probably, on average, you're probably pretty much the same amount of growth, same amount of something. You're getting by, you're doing something. You're not horrible. It could be better. If it's horrible, it's going to get better, but it's not as getting better faster. It's the same story. It's the same story until you start undoing, until you start chipping away the things that are not serving you. So the question is, how's that working for you? How is doing it on your own working for you? You can buy more books, you can buy more tapes, you can go to more events. How's that working for you? That's my question. That's really the only question I have for you. Because you've got the second half, and here's the second half of the year. What if you doubled your goal? What if you hit your targets that you had for the next 6 months? You hit them in 3 months. And then you were able to get some momentum. See, the reason that most things happen, good or bad, is something called momentum. There's something that you start off doing and it starts to snowball. That's why we wind up where we're at. Momentum. Good, not so good. And listen, it's neither good nor bad. Comparison makes it so. We've had a couple of bad things happen here on the ranch. Couple of things didn't go according to plan. Things expired sooner than we thought. Those were bad. Could have been worse. So it just is. It's not fun. When anything bad happens, it's not fun. But good things can happen. And we say they're good. It could be better, so they're not really as good as they could be. They're good. They could be better. They just are. When you begin to review the part of you that you hire, you got to ask yourself, if for the last week, the last year, the last decade, you've not reached your targets, are you worth hiring? Because if you're not worth hiring, then you need to find the version of you that already exists. It's not in more. I can promise you that. 100% guaranteed. The version of you that's going to arrive at your goal is not a more version of you. It is a less version of you. It is a chipped away version of you that has decided to give up on all of the things you're attracted to that keep you stuck. You know, we used to have waitresses at the restaurant, and you weren't allowed to chew gum. That's pretty much a standard in waitressing or waitering. You don't show up smacking gum at the table. We had one waitress at Murphy's Steakhouse and Pub that I don't know how hard it is to forget to not have gum in your mouth. It was quite curious. I found it fascinating. And eventually had to say, listen, show up with gum tomorrow. Don't punch in. Because you could show up with it and come in the back door, punch in and clock in, put your apron on, get everything up, get your station ready. Don't go out on the floor. I don't know how else to fix that. How to make it easier. Time for you to go home. You went out on the floor with gum in your mouth. Again for the third time. 3 strikes. So the question is how many more strikes are you willing to have before you fire that version of you that takes over after you set the goal? After the emotion of the new idea sets the goal, who takes over? Who did you hire? Who did you hire to wind up where you're at? That's the question I have for you. Something to think about. So there you go. I hope today brings you great joy, YouTube, and I will see you where? At the next of, oh, I never did go live. Cool.